Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today we are going to be doing another Mafia recommendation for you. We did one back when we first started our channel, way back when. And if you really are adventurous and you really want to go watch that one, we'll link it down below. We're just going to caution that it was in the beginning. Please don't judge. And don't judge. But the recommendations were good. We were just learning then, and we had a lot of stalls because we're trying to figure out how to keep my phone from jumping to the Canadian Tower. Anyhow, but that's there. So this is the second Mafia video that we're going to do for you guys. So let's talk about all the good Mafia recommendations that we have for you guys. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway, and we are so close to that 500 mark. When we hit that 500, we are giving away this cinch sack full of amazing swag and Twisted Love by Anna Huang. We also have some awesome stuff coming up for 750 and 1,000 that we are working on, and we are so excited for that. So you have to get to 500 so that we can get to the 750 and 1,000. So hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram for an extra entry as well. Okay.
You took all my lines.
I just want to get to the good Mafia stuff. All right. Since they took all your lines, why don't you start us off?
Okay. Well, Jessica, I actually went back and looked at our Mafia video to see what we did, because I have not read a lot of variety of Mafia.
Yeah. So when did we do that video? Like, was it in February or something?
January.
Ooh. Right after we started.
Yes. So I was super excited to see that in that video you just did Twisted Pride from Cora Riley. So yay. I'm going to talk about Born in Blood.
Talk about
Luca.
Okay.
Okay, so Cora Riley kind of sets the bar for me for Mafia, and I just have not found anything else in that world that I enjoy as much as I've enjoyed her series. So this is kind of the one that starts you off on your Mafia journey with her. It's the Born in Blood series. This is Luca's story that goes parallel with Bound by Honor. I actually read both of them kind of simultaneously and really, really enjoyed reading them together, because this, you get Luca's perspective, and in the other one, I'm going to put this down because my hand is swollen and so it hurts to hold the book. And
damn,
I can hold left-handed, but then I don't know. I'm just going to set the book down. So lost my Bound by Honor, is Aria's version. After those two books, you get dual point of view in the books, but for the first two, you need to read these two books. Read them together. Anyway, so this is about the Chicago outfit and New York wanting to make a truce. And what better way to do that than through an arranged marriage? So poor Aria finds out that she was going to marry Luca, who's only a few years older than her, but when she's 15. Luca refuses to marry her, though, until she is 18. And so they get married, and the Chicago, like, these Mafia people have some really messed up like traditions with their weddings. Luca is a brutal, brutal man. Like, the blood spatter on here is just like a little indication to what type of man he is. But he has the utmost respect for women, and he refuses to disrespect women or abuse them. I really, really loved that about him. Aria goes into this very kind of timid, but she wants to make the marriage work. Luca does some things, though, that are just awful. But what's kind of like endearing about it is he does them, and he thinks he's actually doing her a favor and doesn't realize how upset she's going to be about it. So this has lots of Mafia action. I'll hold the book up again. Lots of Mafia action with a very sweet love story. I love this world. Love it.
The thing, too, that people who've only read Born in Blood, like if they've only, or Bound by Honor, if they've only read Aria's side or Aria's book and they haven't read Luca's, they are not going to see Luca's side where and understand that the way he feels about treating women. You don't see that until you see his perspective. Because when you say that, I go, really? Where'd you get that? But I know that you got that from reading how he feels in that book.
Yes. So you have
to, I
highly recommend reading them together because there's some repetitive stuff. So I just read like, okay, and then I would go back to the next book and I read them together and I really enjoyed that experience. It was basically like reading dual point of view. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Yeah, because when I read them, his book wasn't out yet.
Love Luca.
Yeah, you do. You like him a lot.
He's a brutal, bad man who will do anything for his woman.
Yeah, I'm more of a Remo girl.
Yeah. Well, all of her men are like that, except for.
Could you imagine that reunion? Like if we were hanging out and you had that one, I had the other one. Like that would be quite the.
I don't understand what you're saying, and I don't think I want to. There is one character that I just never really cared for him much. He's not like.
Who?
I can't even remember his name. Valentina's husband.
Oh, Dante. So Dante's one of those that he's either extremely popular, like people just love him, or they don't. And he wasn't one. I didn't care for him either.
Yeah, I haven't read their second book though, so maybe I need to read that. Maybe
I got bored and like skimmed the last half.
In the second book? Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. All right.
Okay, what's your first Mafia book for us?
Okay, so my first Mafia read is this is number 5 in Neva Altai or Altaj. I've heard it said both ways. Her Perfectly Imperfect series, but this is my favorite one. This is Stolen Touches. Woo! Had a brain fart there for a moment. Stolen Touches. This one is the story of Malene and Salvatore. This one takes us up to New York. And I love this one because, I love the whole series. Like, if you're going to do it, you got to read the whole series. Each hero has something that makes them perfectly imperfect. They all have some different imperfection. Salvatore, I think, is missing a limb. He's missing a part of his leg, I believe. And Bianca is our heroine. She is the little sister to the heroine from one of our first books in the series, for book 2. And she is in a nursing program in New York. And when the book first starts out, we have Salvatore is leaving the hospital and Bianca goes running out into the parking lot to deliver a baby in a car in the parking lot. And there's something about her. He does not feel emotion and he can't sense of, like, he doesn't read emotion. So he's what is that, a psychopath or a sociopath? I can't remember what that is. It's hot. That's what it is. Anyhow, and so but there's something about her because he sees her and she is utterly exhausted. Like, she has this complete adrenaline crash and he carries her into the hospital afterwards. And there's just something about her that makes him feel like he feels emotion for the first time when he's carrying her in and he wants to protect her. Well, the deal is that these people, her family, who's from Chicago, the Mafia in Chicago, they're not supposed to be on his territory without his permission. And she is there without his permission. And when he finds out, because she's made him feel emotion, he forces her to marry him instead of just sending her back in body parts to her family, which is what he would normally do. And so this is their story, and I love it. This whole series is absolutely amazing. You can read them as standalones. I would recommend reading them all, whether you read them in order or not. But this one is just absolutely one of my favorites. It is so good. It's just so good. I love the whole series, and they're quick reads. They're not very long. They're awesome. I haven't read the very last one that just came out at the end of July. I plan to do it this week while we're camping, though. So
okay. Okay, my next one is called Mine to Keep by Sarah Fields. And again, swollen yellow jacket hand. So I'll hold this up like this, I guess, until I get tired of that. But it's weird because my notes are over on this side. So sorry. Okay. So you're going to want to read this book if you like a Mafia standalone, so you don't need to be totally immersed into like a whole new world. And if you also like kind of those insta-love sex scenes, so that's kind of what you're getting here. If you've read Sarah Fields before, you should kind of understand what you're going to be getting yourself into. So this is about Ava. She is walking home one day and she is attacked by Anthony, who is in the mafia. His men grab her because this man holds a grudge. She turned him down in high school.
Wow.
Yep. So he will not stand for that now. So his men grab her and there's a car accident and she's able to get away, and she runs into a restaurant that's owned by Cyrus. And so Cyrus just decides he's going to protect her and he's going to keep her. And she's not 100% honest with him. He also has some mafia ties, so he knows that she's not honest. And so he has really no choice, Jessica, but to spank his bad girl for not being honest with him. And that kind
The
of
spankings. I don't understand it.
that sums up the book. So again, it's a pretty, I mean, here's the book. It's a pretty quick read. So if you're just looking for a fun mafia, there's definitely mafia action in it.
Okay, and spanking.
Yes.
She gets her little bottom paddled.
I got this book from Dark Romance.
Mm-hmm, I got it too at one point.
Okay. So I decided to read it.
Yeah. Why not? Okay. So my next book is from Tilly Cole. This is Lord of London Town. I do like this one.
I have that on my Kindle.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Are you recommending books to us that you don't like?
Yes, I do that all the time. Don't be mean.
Oh, you're like, you held it up and you're like, I do like this one.
All right, I get it. Okay. So, shush. Lord of London Town. Okay, so this is about Cheska and Arthur Adley. And now this is set in London, obviously, Lord of London Town. Arthur is in charge of the Adley firm. It's a London crime syndicate. Cheska is a socialite for all intents and purposes. She is your Kardashian, I guess is what you'd refer to her as. She's met Arthur a couple of times throughout her life. She met him when she was, I believe it was 13, and then again when she was 18. Now she's a little bit older. She's in her early 20s, and she is engaged to somebody else. She's met him, like, they both have yachts. They both live the high life. But something happens, and it has to do with the fiance. And she then runs to Arthur and his situation, or his group. She knows that he can protect her. And so this is their story, and I can't say too much more, but I devoured this book when it first came out, and I've been waiting ever since for sequels, but we haven't gotten them yet. So it's been a little while, but I just remember, like, in a day it just consumed me. It was just sucked it dry. So this one is one of my favorites. Love this book. Love it. There's a side character in here that's actually my favorite that I really need his story.
And she hasn't written it yet?
No.
She's talking. I am taller than you again on screen. Look at that. Is my chair creeping up? Is that the problem?
Either that or I'm like slowly slouching down.
Okay. We'll see if this helps.
Okay.
Tilly Cole just announced her
Vikings book.
Well, yes, that's coming out, but she hasn't given a release date, but 1,000 Broken Pieces, but it doesn't come out until June.
Well, and then I think you have to read 1,000 Boy Kisses.
Yes.
And I refuse to do that to myself. I know what that's about. I've actually read the beginning and the end. And I can't.
I'm excited for Vikings book though, but it just made me nervous when I saw that book she's saying is coming out in June. It's like, so you're teasing Vikings book, but you haven't given it a date yet. So is it going to be before or
we've waited. Well, she had Vikings book done. Was it like last year? And she scrapped it. Might have been the year before last. And she had to go back to the drawing board. She just didn't feel like it was true to who Viking was. And she like trashed it and started all over again.
I have respect for authors that do that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
Yeah,
nothing worse than feeling like an author betrayed their own characters.
exactly.
And I've read some books like that.
Exactly.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay, my next Mafia book is El Diablo by M. Robinson. We follow M. Robinson on Instagram, and she is a hoot. She's always posting like crazy stuff on there. So I enjoy her as a person, as what I've seen from her. I read her book Crave Me last spring, and I was very harsh on it because I felt like the book was really good, but it was full of a lot of mistakes, and that really bugged me. And it ended kind of on this cliffhanger, and it didn't tell me what book I needed to read next. So I had to search for it, but it was El Diablo. I really enjoyed El Diablo, and it didn't have all the mistakes in it that the Kindle version of Crave Me had. So I read it, but I'm not sure how like you would go into reading El Diablo if you didn't have all the background from Crave Me. But I know you read El Diablo and you didn't read Crave Me. So I'm not sure how all that works out, like which book she wrote first. But in Crave Me, we meet Briggs, who's Alejandro's or El Diablo's niece that he ends up raising. And we really get a bigger insight into how he's raising her. Eventually, he meets Lexi, and things really start to change for him a little bit. There is so much going on this book that I don't even know how to tell you about it. Yeah. So it's a Mafia book. You could definitely read it without reading Crave Me, because Crave Me is not, well, it's a little Mafia related only because Briggs lives with her uncle and runs drugs for him. So maybe it's more Mafia related than I thought. But
Mm-hmm.
but El
Yeah,
Diablo.
I've never read it. I just read El Diablo and I loved it.
Yeah, El Diablo is a great, like, I guess you would call it a standalone Mafia book. What else do I say about it? Because there's so many revelations throughout that book that you can't really say without giving away anything. So El Diablo is very closed off. They call him El Diablo because like they refer to him as the devil. So when the Mafia calls you that, you know you got to be pretty bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. What else do I say? I don't feel like I gave much information.
There's not much you can give. It's just good. It's worth reading. Try it.
Yes, it's worth reading. Try it.
Mm-hmm. I think something good happened. I just heard an exclamation in the kitchen from the man watching football.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for sharing that, Jessica.
You're welcome. I knew you would want to know that. All right. So my next recommendation is Owned by a Sinner by Michelle Hurd. I believe this is the second in her Sinners series. These can be read as standalones. They are an interconnected series, but you don't have to read them in order at all. Like at all. So this one is an Irish mafia setting. This one is the one that I actually read first, and then I went back and read the other ones. So this one is about Chiara. And she would be like an Irish mafia princess, but she does not know this. Her father has kept that from her. She does not know that her father worked for the mafia and that she is basically been kept as a secret from this mafia situation her whole life. She takes a job at this Burns Corporation. Her dad has had a heart attack, and she has taken this job to help him pay for his medical expenses. And she gets into a situation that she can't get out of. And it's a really, really, really bad situation. And she's there for several weeks. I think it's actually a couple of months before the boss comes back into town and realizes what's going on. And that is Liam. He is a monster. He is the worst of the worst. And he's pretty bad, except for when he sees her. And she is different. And so that's where things start to change for her. And he sees the situation and he steps in. So I can't say much more than that because it gives away a lot of it, especially when he figures out who she is. But even before she figures out who she is. But that's their story. So it's very good. I really like this one. This one was my favorite out of the whole series. What were you doing?
I'm icing my hand and I had to get it out of the ice.
To use the mouse? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I guess it's my turn.
It is your turn. Yeah.
Okay. That Benadryl's going to start kicking in and I'm going to be like,
I know. I'm gonna be wake up, switch back.
okay, my next Mafia read is called Ravaged Innocence by Misha Stone. And this is another Luca. He's a Mafia hitman, and Avery, who's just in college, working at a bar, just living her life, right? And there is a Mafia meeting. I don't know what else to call it. Happening at the bar, and Luca's job is to make sure that she doesn't overhear anything, basically. And he ends up just kind of captivated by her. So, Jessica, what do you do in the Mafia world when you're taken by, like, when you really are, taken aback by a chick, like a woman? What do you do?
You steal her.
Yeah, that's what he does. He takes her home to keep her.
And you, as the chick, just you just put your hands together and be like,
well, she does not put up with his crap. So she gives him kind of a run for his money. And there's definitely some Mafia stuff happening. He's trying to keep her safe. Mafia is really hard to talk about, I'm realizing.
I mean, they all kind of, it's, when you find that one that's just a little bit different, I think that's why you're like, yes. I think that's why like Neva Altai's books are so popular right now, because they're a little different. Like, yes, they're arranged marriage and they're forced into getting married, but they have that, being that they're imperfect and they have that aspect that's a little bit different. I think that's why they're just being consumed, because it doesn't follow that format of guy meets girl, guy wants girl, guy steals girl, girl gets in trouble, girl gets saved, happily ever after.
Yes, but I guess what I was meaning is that there's usually there's underlying things happening.
There always is.
So it's hard to talk about it without giving away spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But you just broke the whole formula for everybody. So there we go. The Mafia formula.
I mean, it's always me alpha.
Cora Riley's books don't necessarily follow that formula, though.
I mean, sometimes. But hers are popular for a reason, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So, these ones I'm talking about next are probably the most popular on the list. Like, they have the most reviews out of the ones that I've talked about. Most of mine are under that 10,000.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Around there. So that is The Mafia Mistress and Mafia Darling, which is a duet. So I'm just going to talk about the first one by Mila Finelli.
I love those covers. Where'd you get them?
Thrift Books, I believe.
Okay.
Just
so
online.
That wasn't like at an author event?
No, but no.
Okay.
No, this is just the discrete covers on Thrift Books.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the story of Fausto and Francesca. So this does have audio. I'm giving the disclaimer. Some people love the audio. I couldn't do the audio for this one because the male narrator has an Italian accent, as he should, because Fausto is Italian. I think he sounded like Luigi from Mario Kart. It was too high pitched. I couldn't do it. So sorry to whoever that male narrator was. I just couldn't do it. Let's not. It was horrible. I'm sorry. Anyhow, if you guys can handle that, then good for you. I couldn't. It didn't sound masculine enough. Anyhow, that's just my personal opinion. Don't come at me, okay? Anyhow, so this is about Fausto and Francesca. So Francesca lives in Canada with her father. Her father is a part of the mafia there. And Fausto lives in Italy, and he runs the mafia in Italy. And Francesca is living her best life in Canada. And Fausto shows up one day and takes her. She does not want to go, but he takes her not to marry him, but to marry his son. And she is taken to Italy against her will. She actually tries to escape. Like, I remember she was climbing over a fence and they find her, like she's climbing over this retainer wall, and he catches her on the other side and takes her back with him. And the son is not thrilled either. He has his own reasons for why he's not very thrilled, but he is not thrilled that he is going to have to marry this girl. And when he starts pitching a fit about it, the Fausto, dad, decides, well, guess I'll just make her my mistress instead. And so that's kind of what happens there. So Fausto's not the greatest guy. He's not willing to commit to her and make her his wife right away. So that's there's that. But you have to read both. You have to read the duet. And like if you're reading Mafia, you know these guys aren't always the greatest guys. They're not. They're assholes sometimes. So just keep that in mind. But you know, sometimes chicks soften them. It's great. I loved it. So I think you were reading some of the reviews with me earlier, and some people like it, some people don't. I loved it.
Well, as we say, reading is very subjective. So, and like there's times where you and I feel 100% on books. Like I could sit here and probably name off 20 to 30 books you and I both would like swear by that we both loved. And then you could probably name off 15 to 20 books that you loved that I'm like, eh. And I could just name off some rom-coms I enjoyed and you'd be like, eh.
Exactly.
So you just never know. Like you're never going to have 100% the same taste as somebody else.
Yeah. Like when I get phone calls from you when I rate books and you're like, I saw the way you rated that book. And I'm like,
I did that once and I will not throw you under the bus on this for that, but that is still very shocking.
There was another one. There was another one that you did when I was coming home from camping. It was an MC book.
Oh, it was one that I read. I really enjoyed, but you only like the first one that I talked to you about, you rated a 3 and that is like a 5-star read.
I told you why.
Well, because you just read something and so you were in a mood. You need to go back and reread it and fix that and send an apology letter.
Apology letter.
The other one I rated it a 5 and you rated it a 4, and I definitely see the difference.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah, reading is subjective. You don't have to agree. I mean, that's the beauty of it all.
I still haven't forgiven you for the other book though.
Well, sorry. What's your next book, Mandy?
I'm trying to think of books that you really love that I can just crap all over right now.
That's really grown up.
My head really hurts, okay?
Okay. All right. Okay.
And apparently I'm being very aggressive with my ice pack because I keep shaking the computer.
Okay.
Oh, that Benadryl started to kick in and I'm like, oh.
Is this your last book that you got now?
It's called Silent Vows, so maybe we should just sit here silently. Think about the book. Okay, my next book, and I guess this is my last Mafia book, is Silent Vows by Jill Ramsauer. This is Connor and, how did I say her name, Jessica?
Noemi.
I am not good with phonemic awareness.
Yeah, and we gave you Benadryl.
Yes. Okay, so Noemi is in a car accident with her mom, and her mom is killed, and she has reason to believe that her father killed her mother. So she decides for self-perseverance until she can get away from her dad. Like her dad guards her all the time. So she's never alone. She can't talk to her brother alone. And so she's she's trying to figure out what to do. So for the past 6 months since the car accident, she just refuses to speak because she feels like if her dad thinks she can't talk, then that makes her a little bit safer while she tries to formulate a plan. Now, another rival mafia family is looking to do an arranged marriage to kind of solidify like the ties. And so Connor's looking through pictures of women and little descriptions, and he finds this woman that's really beautiful, but she doesn't speak. And so they're like, oh, you don't want her. She doesn't even talk. And he's like, well, that sounds perfect. A woman, like this wife is just not going to bother me and I can do my thing and, I don't have to listen to her basically. But when he meets her, he realizes that she can actually talk pretty quickly. And he kind of tricks her into talking to him, and things just kind of progress from there with them. I enjoyed this. I was looking for a little more angst, a little longer period with her needing to learn to trust him before she starts talking to him. But I do understand, like, she's living under the roof with her dad, who is like not afraid to kill off people. So I get why maybe that escalated a little more quickly. I was just looking for it to be a little different. But it
Yeah.
was still really good. So if you don't go in with hopes that it's going to like that is going to be a big part of the book, you'll be good.
Okay. I read it. It was good. I was the same way as you, though, with wanting her to be mute a little while longer.
Yeah. Well, you like your heroes and heroines flawed.
I do.
Actually, I think you prefer your heroes that way.
I do. I don't remember my heroines
You
that way.
just secretly want your husband to be mute for a while. You always talk about how romance is an escape.
I have no comment right now.
Okay.
Okay. So my last recommendation, I've mentioned this book a couple times.
Blink twice if he's in the room.
No, but I'm afraid he can hear us. So
He secretly watches our videos.
he hears me. No, when I'm editing, he's normally sitting next to us, and he'll be like, "What'd you guys say?" I'm like, "Crap!" So yeah, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. If he's not in here, he watches me when I edit them. So okay. So this last book, I've mentioned this a couple times. But like I said, this one is. I can't believe this only has like 8,000 views on or reviews on Goodreads. It just blows my mind. So this is the Violent Delights trilogy. Or the White Monarch trilogy by Jessica Hawkins. So this is, like I said, it's a trilogy. It is Mafia, but it is the cartel. So this is about, what is her name? Natalia. So Natalia is basically a cartel princess. And when she is young, she is really close to this boy named Diego. He is from a rival cartel family, but him and his brother Cristiano are taken in by her family, and they're trained as soldiers in her family. And when she is 11, she is getting ready for this, I think it was like the Day of the Dead parade and stuff that they're having, and something happens, and she finds her mother dead or dying on the floor in her bedroom. And when this happens, she finds Diego and Cristiano in her room, and I believe Diego got shot at that point in time, and Cristiano has a gun, and he gets her, like, takes her with him to the tunnels to get her out, and he tells her to stay there. She believes that Cristiano has shot her mother and possibly hurt Diego, and she doesn't understand they're brothers, like she doesn't get it. Then we fast forward 11 years later, she is coming home from being at school in the States, and she and Diego are in love, and they want to get married, but her father, he sees Diego as a soldier and not as someone to marry his princess. And so she's trying to convince her father to let her marry Diego. Meanwhile, Cristiano, who has been basically on the run and on the outs, comes back into the picture and comes back into the fold. And some things transpire. And in order to save Diego, she is forced to marry Cristiano. And so this is the story. I mean, even the top says, like the top of the book up here says, like, all she has to do to save the man she loves is to walk down the aisle to his brother. So I loved this trilogy. This was like, I remember putting it off forever, going, I don't know if I want to read this one. Like, I'd seen it around. I don't know. I'd seen the cover. And then I got into it and could not put it down because it was different. It was so good. Jessica Hawkins is a great author.
I love her. So
and I'm just, like floored that this is not more popular than it is.
I need to go read that.
Yeah, it's really good. And the audio is great for it. I actually started it a few weeks ago and got almost through with the first book again. And then I don't know, got into a few other ones. So I need to finish it just because I was doing a reread of it. So I do need to finish it.
She has some other really good books that you need to read.
I know. You know what? The TBR is very long. It's just very long.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, the Benadryl's kicking in. All right, let's wrap this up before Mandy falls asleep on me. All right, guys, so that is some more of our favorite Mafia recommendations. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below what one of your favorite Mafia reads is.
Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Until then, we will see you in the next video.